Hey everyone, Tina Noah Barfield here, and welcome to Writer's Corner. Well, hey everyone, so this past week has been pretty interesting for me, and I've had some awesome things happen, but before I get into all of that, I realize this mask is pretty unsettling and muffles my voice, so just let me take care of that, just 1 second. Hey everyone! Alright, so like I've said, this past week has been pretty interesting and fantastic for me. My girlfriend came to visit me and she got me lots of really cool stuff like the creepy Kaneki mask from Tokyo Ghoul, which is one of my favorite animes. So it's been really interesting, but her gifts, like the mask, have inspired me to do this video. So the topic of this video is going to be all about creepy characters. But Noah, why are you doing creepy characters? I thought you already did evil and sadistic and all that. What's the difference between that and creepy? Well, there's actually a pretty big difference between evil or sadistic or anti-hero characters and creepy characters. Like, have you ever known anyone who was unsettling? Like, they weren't bad and they weren't violent or mean or anything, but they just said the wrong things and didn't respect you in the right ways, and it just unnerved you. That's creepy, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, because creepy characters can add a certain type of element to your story that otherwise it will lack. This element isn't always necessary, but if you want to add a more unsettling or even a horror vibe to something that wouldn't commonly have it, like fantasy or science fiction, then this is a great way to do just that while keeping it contained, meaning you can easily kill it off later. So the first kind of creepy is stalker creepy. So what's stalker creepy? Well, it's the creepiness of having stalkers. It's a very realistic kind of creepy, and this is especially unnerving because oftentimes these kinds of people can appear completely normal on the outside while having some very deep-seated issues internally. And this is very unnerving. Oftentimes this is used in a more realistic setting, so it's commonly best to use it in times like whenever you want to give an edge to your romantic drama or something, or add a little bit of conflict, or spice it up with some intensity. It's oftentimes not commonly used for things like fantasy, science fiction, or anything that wouldn't commonly be set in a real-world type of setting. The second kind of creepy, supernatural creepy. Supernatural creepy is the kind of creepy element you get whenever you think there are ghosts around, or you're in the dark and there's nothing around but there's the possibility of it happening. Oftentimes, these creepy characters might be figments of the narrator's own imagination, or they could actually be supernatural forces. Common elements of supernatural creepiness are things that we can't see, things that lurk just hidden out of the shadows, things that might mean us harm, but the biggest fear of it is the unknown and how unsettling and unnerving that really can be. The third type of creepy, the evil creepy. So the main thing that sets apart the evil creepy from the other kinds of creepy is that it is inherently bad and wants to do you harm. For instance, you can have a normal villain who has all the normal villain things, enslave the human race, conquer the world, etc., etc. But what sets this villain apart from the other ones is the creepy factor that you have maxed out on this person. Like, maybe they wear a suit made of the hair of their past spurned lovers. Or perhaps they spend 30 minutes after capturing the protagonist just licking their flesh and stroking them because they want to savor the feel of soft skin before it is corrupted by their necrotic rays. This can be very, very unsettling for many kinds of people. However, the worst kinds of evil, creepy villains commonly appear in things like fantasy elements, where you would rather not have all of these creepy, unsettling things, but this gives your villain not only flair, but it also adds an uncertainty element to it because these people are commonly unstable. Also, it can unnerve your readers a lot, and this is what takes it from creepy to scary and unsettling. Now, the final kind of creepy is the good-natured creepy. The main thing that sets the good-natured creepy apart from everyone else is, well, their good nature. Yes, they may have creepy supernatural elements to them or stalker or realistic traits to them, but they are inherently good-natured and want what is best for at least certain kinds of people, but lack the social skills, presence, or wherewithal to be able to express that in a way that society commonly deems acceptable. Thus, they are ostracized. These characters commonly end up dying, either through self-sacrifice to preserve the protagonist, or because they end up being a martyr somehow. Though if these characters don't die, they are eventually commonly accepted into a group after ostracization. We don't oftentimes like this character at the beginning, but by the end we have grown attached to them for whatever reason. This character can be tricky to write. They don't have to be disfigured or anything. They can appear totally normal. They just have to have this unsettling factor to them, which I'll be talking about in just a moment. So now you know the different kinds of creepy, but how do I write this creepiness? Don't worry, I've got you covered. The first thing you want to do whenever you're writing a creepy character is have them be pervasive. So it's possible to have a good-natured character that doesn't respect boundaries, and this is a lesson that they learn over time. However, many of these characters end up becoming evil because people don't appreciate not having their boundaries respected. They want the bubble. They want to be respected, and whenever someone is this close all the time because they don't respect or understand that, it can not only be unsettling, but aggravating, and these characters calmly lash out, which oftentimes initiates the conflict between a normal and a creepy character. The second thing you want to do is make this character slowly unsettling. Now, what you want to do whenever you're trying to make this character continuously grow more and more unsettling is to drop hints here and there. Have them be suspicious of other characters and want to back up their stories. Have them be a little confrontational when questioned. Have the main characters suspect them of something. Have them say and do things that just don't seem to add up to the betterment of the party or the main character or what have you. Slowly over time, have them become someone that you just wouldn't want to be in the same room with. And if you're alone with them, you better watch out. The third thing you want to do, make them unstable. Primarily, the best way that you can up the creepiness of these kinds of characters is to introduce an instability factor, having these characters be unstable, operate in morally questionable areas, or solely operate in extremes. For instance, if your partner on the police force flies off the handle whenever someone seems to question them but is otherwise happy and pretty go with the flow, but they also kind of just tend to pop up whenever you least expect them and don't respect your personal space. And then you find out that their first response whenever confronted with an assailant is always to shoot to kill, no matter what, and sometimes that even includes dirty cops who would otherwise be given leniency, and you gotta worry about that. You're not going to want to be in the same squad as them, and on the same stakeout as them, in the same room or precinct as them. And this can commonly lead to escalation and conflict, which is exactly what these traits are trying to accomplish. Now my fourth and final tip, make them have dark potential. Oftentimes the scariest thing about these characters and the thing that is going to make them creepiest is the feeling that they could snap, that they are obsessive and that they have this dark potential to become something much worse than they already are. This is a scary thought if they're already a terrible person, but if they're nice but they show these obsessive qualities, not respecting your space, stalking you, maybe even being a pervasive supernatural element that doesn't understand that they're dead and they need to move on, all of these things can really combine to give them a dark tone and edge that they may not otherwise have possessed. But because of certain things that your protagonist does or certain traits that these own characters possess, they have the potential to become something very dark and very twisted, despite their best attempts not to be. Oftentimes, this can be something that they don't even realize or they don't want, and it happens unwittingly. Other times, this is something they're fully aware of and continuously do because they need it. So that's it for writing creepy characters with tips and the kinds of creepiness that you're probably going to encounter and want to write. But now is the time where I'm going to brag about my book. However, before I do so, I would like to say a quick word on relations to creepiness. Many times these characters, these creepy characters, are portrayed as mentally challenged in different works of fiction. I feel this trope is overplayed, and that one should respect the mentally challenged in works of fiction or otherwise. And I would recommend that if you're going to set yourself apart from the crowd, have something or have a different reason why these characters act the way they do, rather than that something is just intrinsically different about them mentally or chemically. Now that being said, time to move on to Legendland! This fantastic piece of literature right here is available on a plethora of places. You can get that beauty on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, Smashwords, or my own website, www.arc-storm.com. If you order it off of there, I'll personally sign it for you. Now, if having Legendland in your hands or on your Kindle or e-reader isn't enough for you, and I'm sure it's not, you can keep up with me on a lot of different places. I am on Facebook, Twitter, Goodreads, Wattpad, and obviously YouTube, where you can just subscribe or leave a comment below, or do both. I'm not going to stop you. Also, if you're wanting some extra tips on creepiness for characters, I have several stories that are probably unsettling to most people on ArcStorm and on Wattpad, which I'll put the links for below. An especially creepy one that I am proud of is my story Susie Q, and it has a lot of the different tips and tricks that I've been talking about in this video, which you get to see in action. I hope this video has been helpful, that you've enjoyed it, and the Kaneki mask that I unveiled earlier today, and that you continue to enjoy.